Hello, friends. A very warm welcome and taking up more themes and ideas with respect to putting up questions in perspective. Today, also, we will try to catch up some important themes and ideas in a very quick but comprehensive and a brief session of around 15 to 20 minutes. And let's try to see that how we are performing and understanding when we are put under a sustained, positive but comprehensive pressure. For instance, let's start with asking, Ashik, can you name certain Indians who are playing very important role as far as promoting mass entrepreneurship in India?
So mass entrepreneurship in India, for example, Sanjeev Sanyal is there, so PMEAC, and so other important entrepreneur in India are, for example, founder of Ola, and so he's playing very important on Krutrim, as well as if we are talking about skill development and other scheme, we are focusing much more on uh, institutions such as Finance Commission head. So all these are very important.
As far as India's fabric industry is concerned, how do you see the trends for next one decade?
So next one decade, we are moving towards fabric industry that is more sustainable, eco-friendly, as well as technical textile. Um, and we are focusing on diversification from depending on Bangladesh as a product. We are focusing on cluster-based approach, for example, in Tamil Nadu, in Banaras, in UP, West Bengal, etc.
Why sadhana is essential for spiritual growth?
Sadhana is very important, sir, because it makes us understand the realities of the situation, as well as it makes us question about our past, as well as our thinking, our connection with the God, and it makes us very humble with regarding to the situation. That is why it makes us grow.
When you try to endear yourselves to the powers, I repeat, when you try to
Yes.
endear yourselves to the powers, you will have to face consequences. Comment.
So it depends if I am focusing on ethical work or not. If my work is unethical, then I have to face consequences. If my work is ethical, then I think it is justified to face the powers.
Mansi, you want to add something?
So consequences cannot be only negative; they can be positive also in terms of like the daily work that needs to be done, our punctuality, our accountability, and even listening to the people's demand and their concerns. So they are also consequences of getting into a powerful domain.
Okay, you want to say both ways it is happening. If I say this in context of seizure or destruction of property without following due procedure is a troubling misuse of executive power. Ashik, do you agree?
Yes, sir. I agree with the fact that if the due process not followed, then it is misuse of power. We have to follow the judicial processes and also the protocol that has been given in the IPC and CRPC, as well as the other precedent in India.
Ashik, what do you know about Galapagos Islands? Or if I don't give you much hint, what is the significance of Galapagos Islands? Why they are very significant with respect to environment and ecology?
Yes. So Galapagos Island are, I think so, it is in middle Atlantic Ocean near the coast of Florida, around the West Indies, etc. And so it is very important because of coral reef, as well as uh, there is a number of Indian immigrant also in that region. So it becomes very
Mansi,
important.
you want to add something?
No, sir, nothing new points.
So I have another aspect, sir, to add to it. So one
Yeah,
is
we can we can say that a drought driving evolution in Galapagos. That means Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest and how evolutionary processes continue. That what we can see in Galapagos. The iconic Galapagos iguana. It dates back to even 10 billion years. Both of you and
Yes,
all
sir.
of us know about iguana also, and even red hubris, red herbs. I should say hubris. Red herbs are there, which showcases that it is having a rich ecological fabric. So these are
Yes, sir.
certain examples can also apply to even Western Ghats. But in case of Western Ghats, we know that more research and more focus is to be required.
Yes, sir.
Ashik, please tell, why do you think India's first cloned cow was a game changer, and the India's first cloned cow's name was Ganga? What can be the way forward as far as India's cloning journey is concerned?
So cloning industry may provide certain kind of insight with regard to preservation of indigenous breed because its population is decreasing as per the census of cattle rearing. 6% decline is there. So one way it is a solution. At the same time, so we have to focus much more on ethical perspective. If it is right or wrong, if cloning is desirable for the safeguarding of species as well as biodiversity or not. So cloning has various utility as well as sir, it also serves the purpose of conservation and preservation. But we have to keep in mind the cautious approach.
To add something,
So it would be again helpful in creating even more jobs in the non-farm sector like the livestock industry. And also it can help in increasing the productivity of even the breeds also and promote the indigenous breeds in India. So adequate, we can say the milk capacity, or we can again harness on that advantage.
okay. What are the lessons, Ashik, we can learn from the failure of first tiger translocation in India? Because the efforts to repopulate Satkosia Tiger Reserve in Odisha in 2018, it came to zero after poaching of male tiger and the female turning man-eater.
Yes.
So how we can adhere to NTCA guidelines, that is National Tiger Conservation Authority guidelines? What are those guidelines and what is the way forward?
Yes, sir. So NTCA is a very important institution with regarding to the preservation and conservation of tigers. And so the guideline says that local community tribes can be included for the preservation of the species. First, for example, Soligas tribe in Bandipur National Park, Karnataka. And so second would be focusing on local translocation rather than interstate translocation because tiger species they adapt to the local climate. And the third would be focusing on interbreeding of the tiger and so that intrabreeding of tiger does not amount to proliferation of diseases among them. And so fifth would be focusing on creating a capacity building of the forest department so that anti-poaching measures can be taken. It can be technological as well as institutional based.
Integrative medicine is very important. What is the philosophy of integrative medicine?
So I cannot recall. So what is the meaning of integrative medicine?
Integrative medicine. Tell me, what is integrative medicine? Mansi?
So I think we can talk about the method of production of such types of medicines that we are following proper like ethical norms and they are not harming the environment or not harming any particular species or biodiversity like the animals or the rats that
So
we
integrative medicine is a collaborative approach by the Ministry of Health. So Ayush is an umbrella term for relatively proper medicine systems outside allopathy.
Yes.
So when you are bringing Ayurveda, homeopathy, that is called integrating allopathy with alternative approaches. That is called integrative medicine.
So it is integrative.
Yeah, integrative. That's what I said.
I
Yes.
heard integrity.
Okay. Coming to the next point, can can full
Yes, sir.
economic liberty coexist with democracy?
So full economic liberty cannot coexist with democracy because in democracy, political power is with the state, and there has to be certain kind of a state intervention to secure justice for the people as a whole. For example, mixed economy like India, sir. Even US, which calls itself as a capitalist, the den of capitalists, but they too have supported the big industries as well as EV subsidies as well as farming subsidies, and also they have given loan at affordable rate after 2008 crisis to the banks.
So you want to say that Hong Kong and Singapore as a model is not successful and it is a warning basically because Hong Kong was very
So,
famous. It is an amazing place for economic liberty and also world's one of the most cherished places. लेकिन लास्ट में ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है जैसा कि अभी हम देख पा रहे हैं.
sir,
Even for Silicon Valley leaders, we say so.
sir, Singapore is uh, Lee Kuan Yew. He was the architect of Singapore, and both Singapore and Hong Kong is city-based governance system. It is not a complex democracy like India, even US or Russia. It is very small city-based system. So I think it cannot be replicated into a large democracy like India,
When we
even
use
in
the
Europe.
word small, when we use it small, then when we are using a word small, do you really mean? Because Singapore is one of the most advanced economies of the world.
Yes, sir. It is the advanced economy of the world, but the complexity of democracy, for example, federalism, for example, diversity of languages, even different historical tradition, it impacts the whole governance process, which cannot be replicated. Singapore can be a success model for the city-based governance, but it cannot be a model for a big country like India, even Japan, China, US, Russia, Europe country, etc.
क्वाड कैसे बन सकता है मोर देन एंटी चाइना ग्रुपिंग? हाउ क्वाड कैन बिकम मोर देन एन एंटी चाइना ग्रुपिंग?
So participation of India in a Quad makes it a more diffuse, makes it a more inclusive rather than anti-China grouping. Because a Quad with India, India focuses much more on increasing the capability of the Indo-Pacific countries rather than focusing on arming the countries in the Indo-Pacific region. So India's participation makes the Quad lesser anti-China groupings.
More, what about more ideas?
So more ideas,
we
for
can
example.
Yes, Mansi?
So we can also talk about engaging on other areas like trade security in the Indo-Pacific region, not just in terms of the dominance, tackling the dominance of China or the unilateral action that it is taking. For example, even the 9-dash line, or it is violating the exclusive economic zone rights. So even we can cooperate in terms of green energy sector when we are talking about Quad. And for example, Australia has certain reserves of rare earth minerals, so that can be explored further.
You want to
we
say we can bring more countries of Southeast Asian nations also in order to make it successful.
जी सर.
कौशिक, इंडिया का जो एयर डोमिनेंस है उसके
Yes,
लिए
sir.
क्या इंटीग्रेटेड एयर कमांड में और कंट्रोल सिस्टम में क्या होना चाहिए? इंटीग्रेटेड एयर कमांड एंड कंट्रोल सिस्टम में फ्यूचर के लिए क्या होना चाहिए?
So integrated air defense mechanism should include 3 to 4 aspects. For example, first would be ASAT. The second would be role of radars and intercontinental ballistic missile BMD, that is BMD system in India. So third would be focusing on cybernet capacity, drones, and so fourth would be regarding of fifth generation aircraft and even anti-aircraft missile. These all things will be very important, crucial for the air defense mechanism. The jointness of the armed forces.
या आप
Iteration.
कहना चाहते हैं फ्यूचर के अंदर भी इंडिया जो है अगर एयरफोर्स नेटवर्क जिसको एफनेट भी कहते हैं उसको
Yes.
बैकबोन बनाएगा.
Yes.
इंडिया स्टार्टेड एफनेट इन 2010 और एफनेट के बाद इंडिया को चाहिए अभी की जो इंटीग्रेटेड एयर कमांड एंड कंट्रोल सिस्टम है जिसको IACCS भी कहते हैं उसे ऑटोमेटेड कंट्रोल की तरफ बढ़ना चाहिए रियल टाइम फीड मिलने चाहिए डिफेंस और सिविल सेंसर्स के द्वारा, और आर्म फोर्सेस के अंदर जो फ्यूचर में हम डेवलपमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं, जैसे भारत इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स लिमिटेड और इंडियन एयरफोर्स का और ज्यादा अच्छा कोलैबोरेशन होना चाहिए, ऑल वेदर सर्वेलेंस होना चाहिए, आईएएफ इंडिजिनसली बिल्ट रडार्स को और जल्दी से और कॉम्प्रेहेंसिवली उसको इंटीग्रेट करें. So what we can conclude by saying is that integration of IACCS, साथ में एयर वार्निंग एंड कंट्रोल सिस्टम, अनमैन्ड एयर व्हीकल्स, और जैसा आपने कहा सरफेस टू एयर मिसाइल्स, ये सारी की सारी चीजें जब इंटीग्रेट हो जाती हैं, देन ओनली वी विल बी एबल टू से कि हमारी जो आईज इन स्काई है वो इजीली हमें
Yes,
फ्यूचर
sir.
की तरफ लेके. My next question is that why till now, even after 75 years, women have been bagging top 4 spots in civil services exam. 2022 में हुआ, 2021, 20 सब कुछ हुआ, लेकिन still till now we never had a woman cabinet secretary. So a 2021 UNDP global report on gender equality says in public administration जो women का top leadership में share है, that is only 12% as compared to 30% in Singapore, 53% in Sweden. So what is to be done for making it more visible? Mansi, you will also answer the same.
Sir, civil service, judiciary, they are based on hierarchy as well as it is based on uh, uh, slow seniority over the years. So the women cabinet secretary would require more amount of women at a lower level in the IAS and even central services. So we are seeing the trend over the last 20 years that women representation is increasing. It has increased to 35% now. So we will see cabinet secretary dominated by women in next 10 to 15 years, because it is based on seniority as well as
तो आपके हिसाब
it
से
would
कोई
take longer time.
कोर्स करेक्शन की जरूरत नहीं है आपके हिसाब से?
So in the higher representation, for example, we need more and more representation at a lower level, lower judiciary, and even DM, SP, etc. And slowly it will percolate to the higher, for example, chief secretary,
Okay,
DGP,
your
etc. Then
answer.
also, then it will improve.
Mansi, your answer, please.
One, we can say that we can increase more participation of the female aspirants on the preparation stage for this examination, which can boost more chances of the selection also. And apart from this, sir, we can then introduce, I think we can introduce the idea of reservation also for certain posts. Like where there are multiple members can be selected, not the one like for we are talking about cabinet secretary, and then the natural process that is ongoing, we are seeing the natural tendency in terms of higher participation as Austric has explained. So that will be working after a certain time lag.
Okay, but then reservation is definitely, we can't agree and we can't say that it is going to help us. Why India needs urgently to build local language generative AI models?
Sir, India, for example, Bhasin app, it is a step towards the generation of local language model. It is important because a whole governance structure, even judiciary, and its judgment is given in the given in the English language, and certain in the but so local language, for example, many of the language tribal languages going extinct, Ho, even Maghi, etc. that needs preservation and conservation. That is why. And the second would be if more and more languages would be used for the dissemination of information at a local level, then I think the participatory nature of the governance will increase. That is.
Okay, Mansi, what is large language model?
Sir, it is a form of, again, we can say the foundational thing, which makes the artificial intelligence to work, or a software which helps in the making of artificial intelligence. So large language models, I think it is including the large set of data and then processing it as per the demand.
कौशिक, काजी नजरुल इस्लाम का क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन है?
Sir, Qazi Nazrul Islam, he is known as a very important prominent Bengali poet for the whole Bengal region, especially East Pakistan, now is Bangladesh. So his contribution is regarding to the promoting Bengali languages, as well as uh, focusing much more on social realities of the region.
पैसिफिक आइलैंड कंट्रीज के साथ हमारे रिलेशन अच्छे होने क्यों जरूरी हैं?
So Pacific island countries, Tuvalu, PNG, Micronesia, Polynesia, etc., so they need support from the country like India because they are vulnerable from climate change, and second, it's their hinge pin for the Indo-Pacific doctrine of India. And to answer third would be regarding overall development of the India as a global leader of the global south. India can play a very important role in integrating that region through human development indexes and vaccine diplomacy, food diplomacy, etc. That is why it is.
So also from the perspective of national security also, and like from the perspective of security of Indo-Pacific region, like we are seeing China is integrating or it is signing more of agreements. Like recently they've signed one with the Solomon Islands. So from that perspective also, maintaining the international rules-based order. So that is also crucial.
Mansi, one last question to you. Fast growing linear infrastructure is shrinking India's forest into islands. Do you agree? If not, why? And if yes, why not?
So we can say that here the role of planned urbanization would be playing important role when we're talking about the vertical expansion, properly following the EIA norms, the environment impact assessment, and following the forest stewardship principles. So planned manner, and then other, like we have Campa fund is there for properly adhering to the afforestation techniques, and then even we can follow the Miyawaki method so that we can mitigate the impact as much as possible.
Archit, your viewpoint, please.
So forest should be considered as a part of governance, urban governance, because we consider forest as a part of conservation as well as repository of the natural resources. But if we can use forest to our whole economic development, we can both develop urban governance as well as we can conserve forest. For example, sir, if ecotourism can be promoted, as and other examples are Campa funding, social forestry, urban forestry, etc.
Thank you very much. I think wonderful and clear ideas. Let's try to move it forward, try to bring more database facts in our learnings, and we'll go back and visit our previous sessions. And in the background, as we are working on different areas with the different perspectives, we'll continue to do so. Thank you very much. Wishing all of you all the best.
Thank you, sir.